Hello and welcome to a very special episode of Please Don't Send Me into Outer Space, where we are going to pick up something that we left off about, what was that, like a year and a half ago?
2 years ago, no.
It was a long time ago.
Year and a half sounds good.
Top 5 sci-fi and top 5 fantasy of the years 1987 through 1996. Welcome to Prime Time. Anyways, my name is Joel.
My name is Sarah.
My name is Aaron.
So, we find ourselves back in this place again, And although, technically, this is our 150th episode, I'm not going to label this 150. You're going to be all shocked. You're going to be like, what? That's because I'm trying to, make everything precise and, only want the movies with numbers on it. But hey, this is technically our 150th episode, even though if you put all the episodes together, it's way more than 150. Shut up.
So what's our actual episode count? Cool.
I think we've had like 7 special episodes.
Oh, okay.
And not counting all the soda episodes, which are no longer available because we ran out of space. But, yeah, it's been a long time. And now we're doing this again. How do you guys feel about your list?
Good. It was difficult to make, but I feel good about it.
I feel confident. I know I don't sound it, but I feel pretty confident about
I believe you, Aaron. I believe you when you say that. Now, the question is, who wants to go first? Now, wait. Let's preface this. Are these our absolute top 5 favorites of these things, or did you guys, do some merits based on, what they meant in your life, or all that stuff like that?
Well,
because I had a weird system.
In list past, I would go down to the beach and stare at the waves for a while and consider each option heavily as I consider each strand of sand on the beach. But I feel that not as much time was devoted to this list, so I feel that this is how I feel right now about 1987 to 96. To my best ability, what I feel are my top 5 from each, and probably about 37
honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions.
Honorable.
Deeply honored films.
Many honorable mentions.
Yeah.
I mean, how'd you go for yours?
I did it the same way I always do. Usually what I do is I'll look year by year, genre by genre for movies, and I'll write anything down that catches my eye. And then I whittle that down a little bit, and then I go through them all again, and I whittle them down to a top 5, and then I basically decide what my honorable mentions are going to be. But I did swap a couple at the very last second.
Ooh.
Because there are some that are really sentimental for me, that during this era of watching movies, they were movies that were on a regular rotation for me, and I really enjoyed them. And now there are some movies that, as a grown-up, I've watched that are from this time period, and I've really enjoyed them, but I never saw them back then. So it's kind of like, I feel like maybe I wasn't an original fan of that movie or whatever, but I feel pretty good about where it's at right now. It's pretty representative of my taste.
Cool. Yeah.
You've taken all the timelines of yourself and you combined them into one.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do every day.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, I did I did basically the beginning part that you're talking about, a movie that caught my eye within that time period and genre. And then I did the flick chart method, which is, if you guys don't know that, flick chart, that's FLICKCHART.com, is a site where you literally 2 posters pop up on the screen, and you have to pick between those 2 movies, which one you like better, or the way I usually played it was like, which one would I rather watch if I was flipping between channels. And, there's an option, I haven't seen this movie, or I haven't seen both, so, your list isn't full of inaccuracies for movies you don't see. You just build your list, and so, I had a huge list going for a long time, and I've restarted it over and over again. But that's what I did with this. I wrote down the movies, and then I went one by one through, would I rather watch that one or that one? Okay, I'd rather watch that, so I gotta change my numbers over and over again. So, kind of tedious, but that's I like doing lists like that.
I don't know if my order is 100% true to the way I would want it to be, but I think it's close enough.
Yeah. I mean, this isn't set in stone. This isn't the 10 Commandments or anything like. And speaking of those, I don't think the 10 Commandments being, number 1, number 2, number 3, whatever, were in order of which ones are most important. But I guess I'm not a Bible scholar.
I think what I'm getting out of this is, yes, these are numbered, but I think these are numbered today to how I feel right now.
Yes, that's what I got.
And we decided to do a top 5 of fantasy and a top 5 of science fiction for this group of years. And I think all of us were pretty overwhelmed by the amount of science fiction and fantasy movies that we watched from this era of films.
Yeah, this was a very formulative time for me. Personally, both physically and probably, spiritually. So, yeah. So there's a lot of movies. So it was real rough. A lot of struggles, but I'm really glad that my friends were here to help me through the tears, the sorrows, the good times.
Of course.
Yep. You know it.
Yeah, and you're going to hear things on our list that we've already covered as episodes, but that's because our method is we try to do a listener pick, we try to do a random pick, and then we do one that one of us picks. So naturally, we've picked some of our favorites already, but they're not all just from our list, at least I don't think so. We haven't discussed it yet, so there's definitely going to be duplicates and stuff like that. It's just going to be like one of the other ones we've already done before. So let's get into it. I say we start with Sarah. I'm sorry. I'll cut out your last name. I say we start with Sarah.
Okay.
Then Aaron, and then me.
Why?
Because I'm the coolest. Wait, should Aaron go last?
No, I was just thinking because we were in a row.
Oh, that's a good idea. Okay, so Sarah.
Then we won't lose our place.
And then Thomas, and then Joel, and then Aaron.
Okay.
Okay, start with sci-fi. What's your number 5?
All right, here it goes. Number 5 of sci-fi for me. They Live.
Our masters!
What do these things want, and why are they here?
You still don't get it, do you, boy?
They have recruited the rich and the powerful!
They're running the whole show.
Wake up! They're all about you, all around you! Blinded us to the truth!
Take a look. They are safe, as long as they are not discovered.
I don't know what they are or where they came from, but we gotta stop them! Stay away from me! Put these on! They have us! Look at them! They're everywhere!
1988. Do either of you guys have this on your list?
It's on my honorable mentions.
Honorable mentions as well.
This actually made it into my top 5, even though I never watched it before we watched it for the podcast.
I'm so happy.
I love this movie too.
I really love it. I really, really love it. And I thought about putting a different one in this spot, but I've got to admit that it's a very watchable movie.
Oh, yeah.
And I really enjoy that it is both simple and has some depth to it in terms of the concept and what it could be about or what it is, but it's very fun too, and I definitely will be rewatching this one, and I think it's a pretty awesome movie from this time period.
I think about the bass lines in that movie a lot. The dern, 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 dern.
Yeah.
Dern. Put on those glasses!
Oh man, you gotta love how the movie is so clearly it can be enjoyed just as a pure action, stupid,
Yeah,
like, comedy,
superficial.
sci-fi
I love it.
thing. And, like, you can't ignore the message because the message is so freaking blatant.
Oh, yeah.
But it's good that way. It's not, like shoving it down your throat. You just can't stop. You gotta ask for more.
I mean, there's even something about it that almost seems satire.
Oh, yeah.
Like Mars Attacks or something. Or I don't know, it just seems so ridiculous, but it also seems like it really is saying something. And saying something that I think is just as important now as it was when it was made, if not more so. But I like that it doesn't commit to, like, sitting you down and giving you, like, a moral lesson. It's just an action movie. And there's more to it than that if you want to think about the other things that are happening. So yeah, that's my number 5. And I'm very happy that I got to see it because of the podcast. Because I had never watched it before and I probably never would have watched it.
Yeah, I think that was Kempo's pick too, so thank you for that, Kempo.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, me, huh?
Yep.
Number 5 for me is The Running Man from 1987.
Really?
In the year 2017, an innocent man accused of a crime has a choice. Hard time or prime time.
Sensational. Perfect contestant. I want him.
He must pay or play the running man.
On your mark.
I'll be back.
Go!
Speaking of movies with messages. I mean, it does have a message, but I think it's way less concerned with what the underlying, like you're being controlled by the media you consume, and a prison state or a police state could be right around the corner if you let the people already in, with the most money take charge or whatever. But it's such a ridiculously fun action movie, like 80s pastiche, goofy game show thing, and like Arnold Schwarzenegger, like at the top of his game, one-liners or whatever. We don't necessarily need to talk about those. And like a person of color as his interest, and then Richard Dawson, I think, is the name of the guy who did Family Feud. It was we love Sarah and I love to talk about because he was always randomly smooching people, and it's like, what's up with that?
Yeah.
Like, he was born to play a villain, and he does it so good in this one, and, like, there's just so much goodness to talk about.
All right, my number 5.
No one else wants to say anything about the Running Man? Okay.
Okay, all right, Running Man. Yeah, give me a moment here.
That movie sucks, Joel.
No, dude. There are some pretty amazing scenes in that movie, when, like, Arnold's on the run, and he's trying to hide out, and just being, like, I don't know, like Minority Reported from like the cops and stuff, and like, I mean, just the whole setup of that movie, just insane. I never thought I'd ever fall in love with a fiber optic mohawked man.
Morbidly obese opera singer, you mean?
Yeah, amazing,
amazing. Yeah, he's pretty good.
I think that was the first time on this podcast for me too, was I had never seen that movie before and we watched it for the podcast. And it would not make my top 5, and it doesn't make my honorable mentions either.
That's okay.
I understand why it could for people, but for me personally, it was too obnoxious.
For some reason, I wasn't thinking about it when I was constructing this list, so it is not even in my honorable mention either, Joel.
God, that's okay.
This would be cool if all of us picked different ones.
I think we're doing it, guys.
It is, like, both of you looked at me like, oh my gosh, that's in your top 5? Like, yeah, I don't know.
Oh, no. My look was that. My look was more of surprise that it wasn't even on my list.
Yeah. Yeah, I was looking through the movies again after I'd already made my list, and I was like, wait a minute. I didn't even notice that movie came out within the whatever. Hopefully somebody else will mention it, but yeah. I just like The Running Man. It's okay.
Yeah.
I know it's goofy.
Yeah.
No, dude.
It's good to have different flavors in your, favorite picks, because You don't want them to all be serious or all be funny or whatever.
Yeah, I don't think I have that.
Yeah.
All right. Now your turn.
All right. So, my number 5 pick for science fiction movies is from 1987, Short Circuit 2. Because it's just amazing.
Some say he's nuts.
To the moon, Alice!
Some say he's both.
Muchas gracias.
But everyone agrees he's America's most electric leading man.
Mercy, I'm home.
He's
The all-new Johnny 5. Just look at these items. Increased memory, 500 megabytes online. I come with a utility pack. Dozens of gadgets for outdoor living. Lots of green pea stickers and even my own Nike swoosh.
Like, it's not really anything more deep than that. Again, I guess my love of Mohawks continues on in this film as well, with a robot who decides to wear a Mohawk.
The Los Locos set him up that way. It's not.
Oh yeah. No, they're good guys, and I'm really glad they did that. I wish there was a more deeper sentiment than that, but it's definitely an awesome movie. I think I was so excited that there would even consider a sequel to Johnny 5, and so yeah, good times.
I was a big fan of the Short Circuit movies as a kid too. I watched them a ton. I think I had like a tape-to-tape copy or something of the first Short Circuit. And I definitely saw this one too, but I just didn't remember it as well. Maybe it's because I've seen the other one so many times. And I confuse it with Batteries Not Included, which is like a totally different thing.
Yeah, that one made my honorable mention list.
Batteries Not Included is a weird movie.
Yeah, it is.
And this is kind of weird for a sequel, because the first movie is like, he's like a military robot that gains sentience but doesn't turn into an evil thing.
Well, the thing is, for me, is that I feel why this movie made my list too is because I wouldn't consider the need for a sequel.
Yeah.
But this movie is just so fun.
It's there. Yeah. That makes sense. It's kind of like unexpected.
Exactly.
Fun from the same character. Yeah.
That's cool. It's got Michael McKean in it, which is like always a good thing for a movie. It's got these, like, you get so many weird moments of like honest emotion from this robot puppet. But I assume, like, I don't know anything about how that worked or anything like that. But like, when he's sad, you feel it, like, on his emotional thing.
It's the voice, I think, too.
And like, well, he's got like a movable face, and like eyebrow positions and stuff like that. And like, they do an amazing job. And I remember the music being particularly heavy, also. So
yeah, oh yeah,
he's being beaten to death with a crowbar. No!
Yeah, definitely hits you in the heartstrings for sure.
You care about that robot, and he likes the Bee Gees, so
exactly.
And he's an American citizen now, so we don't even need to worry about it.
Alrighty, so number 4.
Mm-hmm.
My number 4 is Jurassic Park.
Oh,
that may be on my list.
Also on my list.
Higher up for you guys?
Yes.
By 1 point.
Okay.
Ooh.
I'll just touch on this then, since we did it for the podcast. We did an episode with Jurassic Park, and we've got multiple people selected it. Everybody selected it, it sounds like, for our top 5.
Yep.
Yeah.
This movie, I couldn't not put it in my top 5 because I feel like it's such an important movie, like, for any time period. It's one of the most realistic movies with dinosaurs in it that was ever made, even now. Even now, it's probably the best movie with dinosaurs, in my opinion, that was ever made. Because of the effects that they used, and because of... I mean, it's a thriller movie as well, but it's an adventure, and it's... Yeah, I'm sure everybody will have a lot to say about it, but I think it's one of the best not only sci-fi movies, but it's one of the best action-adventure movies, I think, of, like, my lifetime. Anyway, that was my 4.
Oh, yeah.
Totally. My number 4 is Terminator 2 Judgment Day from 1991.
That made my honorable mention list.
That's on my list.
Your top 5 list? All right.
Mm-hmm.
So to just say really quickly, the movie was a phenomenon when it came out. I was way too young to see it, and I remember like just hearing everybody talking about it and seeing pictures of the things. It's like, oh, liquid metal, dude. Oh, robot, dude. Oh, crazy. What's gonna happen? Oh man, motorcycles. But like, I don't think I saw it until I was probably like 16 or 17. But it's like I couldn't. I still watch it to this day. That's what kind of affected it as like, oh, I'll just toss it in there just to watch it. Anyways, yeah.
It's
so we'll get back to
definitely
it.
got watchability.
Oh,
for
yes.
sure.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
And it was a full-on phenomenon when it came out. And it's as different from the first one as Alien is to Aliens.
Yes.
Terminator is to Terminator 2.
For sure.
And they're both awesome.
Heck yeah.
Aaron?
My number 4 pick is a 1993 comedy science fiction movie called Freaked.
Ricky Coogan, Brat Pack Sleazebag. Elijah C. Scuggs, Freak Show Tycoon, an amateur bioengineer.
I can look at a guy like Kevin Costner and see a giant peach grub.
When fate brought them together, Mr. Scuggs took an average Hollywood slime ball and made something out of him.
This was directed by none other than Alex Winter of Bill and Ted fame.
Seriously.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about this movie.
It's just like based off a TV show that he had. Like, but yeah, I don't really know anything. I haven't seen it.
The effects are amazing. That's why it made my list. The practical effects are ridiculous. The jokes are pretty bad, but the effects are amazing, and that's why it's a very memorable and rewatchable movie.
What's
and that's
it
why it made
about? Just a little bit.
Basically, this guy has it all, like everything. He's like a reporter, I think, or something like that. And then essentially he gets like mutated. And so he finds this other group of mutants essentially, and they try to just try to get by. It's really funny. It's real good too.
Cool.
Super dumb, super fun. And yeah, the fact that I found out today about that movie, about Alex Winter being the director of it, made me laugh pretty hardcore.
That's awesome.
So. Yeah, that was his whole. He was on that comedy program and stuff like that. So yeah, there's a sentient sock, isn't there? Somebody's like one of the mutants.
Yeah. One of the mutants is a sock that talks. It's amazing.
That's what I thought. Only the best material.
I highly recommend watching it sometime. Maybe we'll do it for the podcast. Yeah,
sure.
Awesome.
That's my number 4.
Well, I've never heard of that, but I'm interested now. And my number 3 is Terminator 2 Judgment Day.
Never heard of that.
Sarah Connor is a goner.
Once, he was programmed to destroy the future.
You don't know what it's like to try to kill one of these things.
Now, his mission...
Get down.
...is to protect it.
Mom!
Come with me if you want to live.
You're really real.
Dude, I have so many memories of playing the Game Boy game.
Of Terminator 2.
Game Boy game?
Mm-hmm. You ever played Terminator 2, the Game Boy game?
No, I played the arcade game.
No.
Yeah.
It was pretty fun. I mean, it wasn't as good as the arcade game.
No, of course not.
Nothing could beat the amazing experience of that game. But the movie, though, way better than the video game.
I'm surprised we haven't done this movie for the podcast. But I guess, there are a lot of other big movies we haven't done yet as well. But this movie, I probably saw it not too long after it came out, and it was scary. I remember being afraid watching it at a couple of moments, especially that were violent. I just think that it was kind of an undeniable force at the time that it came out, and not just because it was in the media and they had drinks at Taco Bell or whatever the heck. I don't even remember all the ad cross promotion stuff they had going on at the time, but it is a good action movie. It's a really good action movie, little more light on the sci-fi than some other action movies that have sci-fi in them are, but because it was already an established character, it was great to see them turn it around, because he is the most terrifying thing to her in the first Terminator, and then they've made him helping her, which is hard for her to believe, and she's in an institution and all this stuff. But
it's a good twist.
It's a good movie.
It's a real good twist there for having the horror of the creature that is trying to hunt you down, being programmed to, I must help you. So good. And
the whole idea of being stalked by these robots in the first Terminator movie and in the second one, they are so effective at making you feel that they don't have anywhere to hide and that there's this machine that can't be stopped that's after them. And in this one, the Evil T-1000? Evil T...
T-1000 is the
T-1000. As seen in...
that guy was...
Wayne's World?
Wayne's World, yeah.
Yeah. That guy was so creepy, and I didn't know him from anything else at the time, but he did such a good job at being non-human in this role.
Heck yeah.
And I read in the trivia that he auditioned for this pretending to make motions like a bald eagle. And
awesome.
I definitely can see that now that I know that. Anyway, this one is probably just a classic pick. I watched it a lot when it came out.
Oh yeah.
I don't love this movie the way I love some movies. It doesn't give me a warm, fuzzy feeling to watch it, but it's definitely enjoyable, even now.
Yeah.
So that's all I was going to say about it.
I have to say that I didn't watch the original Terminator until the first time, maybe, I want to say like 5 years ago or something like that. And that's because when Terminator 2 came out, like the first Terminator became like, oh, it's not nearly as good as the Terminator 2. But like you were saying, it's like Alien and Aliens. Like people have their preference, and I love Terminator 1 now, but almost for completely different reasons that I love Terminator 2.
Mm-hmm.
And if anything, watching Terminator 1 gave me such an appreciation that I didn't have before for Terminator 2 because of the change to Sarah Connor as a character. Like,
and him, yeah.
Yeah. Like, well, I mean, her is the one that, like, really had to, like...
Right.
You could see the effects that the whole thing had on her. You know? And it's... I mean, I think that's kind of like a stroke of genius when it comes to storytelling, because they could have just, made her the same kind of person she was before or something like that. And
was that James Cameron, the second one?
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Did he do the second Aliens, too?
Yes, he did.
That's what I thought. They're both awesome action movies, too.
Yeah, and they're cool for having female action stars.
Who are badass, yeah.
Which even then was like an anomaly. Not that word.
Mm-hmm.
Rare.
Anomaly. 'Twas rare. The rarest of jewels. A lady with muscles? Oh my. But there's so many things, like we have to do an episode so we can just talk about all the things.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I was just going to add a little anecdote that I think I mention this every time we talk about Terminator 2, about how I went and got a haircut because or I took the action figure backing cardboard into like a hairstylist place, and I was like, "Can you make me look like this?" And held up, and it was like a painting of Arnold Schwarzenegger, like half his face, the skeleton showing,
Yeah, I can
but like
make
he had the
cyborg.
spiky hair, like.
That's awesome.
And the lady gave me like a really cool spiky haircut.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm glad that worked out.
Oh, it was awesome. Yeah, I was half cybernetic for about no joke.
I am a cybernetic.
Skynet.
Yeah. I had this I have to say it must have been like a some sort of gun toy. I think it fired maybe like I don't know, like suction cups or something like that. But it was basically a shotgun. And I remember at some point in Terminator 1, John Connor like saws off the back of the shotgun or whatever.
You're talking about Michael Bihn's character.
Yeah.
It's not John Connor.
Oh, is it not John Connor?
No, it's
Oh,
not.
apologize.
I can't remember that.
I forget his name too.
Yeah.
Anywho, I remember I had this suction cup shotgun, and I remember sawing off the butt end of it just because I needed to go fight Terminators.
No, yeah. That butt can't get out fast enough. You
That's
gotta
right.
shorten that barrel.
You gotta shorten that barrel. It's gotta hide in your trench coat.
So coming to a podcast soon, Terminator 2. My number 3, movie from 1994, directed by some Emmerich guy with a sexy James Spader wearing glasses. Stargate.
Nice.
On your list?
Yeah, it's on my list.
Farther up?
Yeah.
Okay. Another one we haven't talked about on the podcast. It's because we've been kind of saving, some of the special ones. The one note I'll give is that I've had 2 DVD copies of this. One from way back in the day, and then one more recently. Both times they turned out to be DVDs that I had to flip over halfway. And I guess that's from the Laserdisc version. So what? Oh, anyways,
A straight port, huh?
It's a.
We had to turn the disc over partway through. Yeah, I remember we had to do that, and we were like, "What?
What is this? A Stone Age?"
Flip it over.
Anyways, I love that movie, but we'll talk about it later. Aaron.
Okay. My number 3 is Jurassic Park. There's dinosaurs. They're in a park.
Ooh.
Jeff Goldblum is shirtless. Sort of.
Jurassic Park is also on my list, but we haven't got to it.
Okay. Then I'm done.
No, that's good.
Let's move on.
That's good.
Okay. My, number 2?
Number 2.
My number 2 is 12 Monkeys.
You're a very good observer, Cole.
We have a very advanced program, something very different.
An opportunity to reduce your sentence considerably.
And possibly play an important role in returning the human race to the surface of the Earth.
No license, no prints, no warrants.
But he took on 5 cops like he was dusted to the eyeballs.
Nice.
Which
That's
we
on my
did
honorable
for the
mention.
Podcast.
Cool.
Is it on yours?
Nope. Just honorable mention for
It's
me.
in my honorable mentions. So.
Okay.
You talk about Monos Doce.
12 The Army of the 12 Monkeys. We did that one for the podcast.
We did.
It was one of my picks, I think, and it's just awesome. It's
Yeah.
just a really cool movie, and it's really unique, and
Terry Gilliam.
I was looking at this list, and I was like, there's some pretty awesome, diverse, directors here.
Yeah.
I've got some, Carpenter, some Spielberg, some James Cameron, Terry Gilliam.
Yeah.
I'm like, this is actually, it is representative of my taste, and it's kind of broad, but there were some really good movies that came out in this era. 12 Monkeys, I've said a lot about it already, but I think it's funny. I read in the trivia that he actually wanted Jeff Bridges to play the main character because I guess they did The Fisher King together and he really liked him and he wanted to use him for this. And I guess that Bruce Willis auditioned actually for The Fisher King and lost it to Jeff Bridges, but he was available for this. And I guess everybody was just super eager to work with Terry Gilliam, so they were willing to take less money and stuff, that's cool. I think it's cool when there are creative people that want to collaborate with other creative people and see what happens. It's one of my favorite sci-fi movies.
Yeah, I don't even know what I could add to that. I mean, it's great. It's a real good movie.
Yeah.
It's real creative. It's a level of creativity that you really have to look hard for nowadays, and like it to Terry Gilliam, it almost feels like it comes natural, but I know based on like some of the documentaries that I've seen about his work that he works his ass off to get things a very specific way. So, but it shows, it reflects in his movies. They're usually just like glorious to see, set wise and acting wise, and construction of scene per scene, that kind of thing.
Yeah, very elaborate.
Oh, yes. I also really enjoy this movie. Don't know what else I can add to it other than the idea that someone might be from the future, but they also might be crazy. Love it. And Gilliam he gets that taste so well presented to you in this film. I'm all about it.
Yeah, and David Morse wears like a wig. He's got that long blonde hair. That's weird.
Yeah.
That's weird. I don't like that David Morse.
Wasn't he like bald when he was what's-her-face's dad in Contact?
He just had like a close cut, yeah.
Buzz cut.
Yeah. Yeah, David Morse has been dad in my brain for a long time, so, in 12 Monkeys. I don't know what's with that hippie Julian Sands haircut, but he's got to cut that crap out. My number 2 is Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure from 1989.
Excellent.
What the heck?
Now, a motion picture so grand, so magnificent, and so vast, it spans 7,000 years.
No way. Yes way.
But it starts with Bill.
I'm Bill S. Preston.
Who was Joan of Arc? And Ted.
Noah's wife. We're in danger of flunking most heinously tomorrow.
A force from the future.
Can we go anywhere we want at any time?
You can do anything you want.
Is putting history at their fingertips.
Let's reach out and touch someone.
I didn't even realize it was in that period. Maybe I wrote it down. Anyway, yes, it should be there.
I'm sorry.
It's okay. I'm glad you mentioned it. Yeah, totally Bill and Ted's.
I could throw that movie on at any time and immediately be having a good time right off the bat. Like, I don't even know. It's like, I definitely watched it when I was growing up, so I got an attachment that way, but we did an episode on it, and I just, like, I can't help it. Like, it's in my heart. It's part of my body. Like, Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, for some reason, like, I just, like, can quote it left and right if I wanted to, and it's kind of weird, but I don't know. There's something super special about it.
Yeah, I think both of us feel like we could just watch it anytime. And, it is something that has definitely aged. It's like set in a certain period of time when we remember what it was like then. And it's a little bit exaggerated in that movie, but there's something just really fun and easy about it. And, I'm drawing a blank. Rufus.
What's the name of Rufus, the actor? Oh my gosh. George Carlin.
Carlin. Sorry.
Yeah, be excellent to each other.
That took me a while. George Carlin is really awesome as like their mentor and like their guide. And he doesn't do very much in the movie, but the fact that he's present at all for it and part of the like lore just makes it even better.
Yeah, like it's when you think about the movie, it's like almost like a series of music videos that happen like story-wise, like just the montage of them like collecting different people from the past after they've already picked up a couple of people, and the whole Napoleon scene at the water park, running around the mall, Like, this is captured this late 80s, early 90s mall stoner surfer dude attitude type thing that is like this perfect snapshot of something that you really can't see. And it's not like people talk about it. It's not like grunge where people are still kind of talking about this kind of thing. Like, those guys kind of look a little grunge, you know. Ted there is with his vest,
flannel, and his long
and stuff
hair.
like that. Yeah, but that's not what they're about.
No.
And it's just so much fun.
It is. It's really a fun movie, and I actually had an experience running around a mall around that same time period. I was invited to my friend's birthday party in Ventura, and her mom had made a scavenger hunt for us in the mall. We were each given a certain amount of money, and at each of the stores they had something for us that we were supposed to pick out. And it was one of the most fun parties I ever went to in my whole life. And I have to say that it reminds me of that when I see the mall scene in Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, because it was like around the same time period.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
If I had done that, I would have, obviously back in '89, they were always doing live gymnastic or aerobic shows on stage. I would just knock that lady out of the way, started doing the aerobics. That never really happened, right? They never had live aerobic sessions in the middle of a mall, right?
We were probably like 10.
It was 89.
9 or 10 or something.
Who knows?
I think they did, Joel.
Oh, yeah?
I think there were ladies working out at the mall, probably.
I think they may have been, but they were probably in a store unit that had been converted into a...
You mean like an actual space where you would actually go? Yeah, probably.
Yes, not where the Easter Bunny gets set up every year.
Hey, who knows, man?
There's a huge mall, so yeah. They got a Fuddruckers and everything.
Were you in every mall in America in 1989, Joel?
In San Dimas, yes.
Oh, okay.
I think it might have been the Topanga Mall or something.
Yeah, I have no idea, actually.
I don't know either.
I'm really surprised, too. This movie did not make my list, Joel, but it is definitely has a special place in my heart. I definitely watched this movie a lot as a kid. Love it. Wish I had more to say. All right. My number 2 on my list here is RoboCop.
We get the best of both worlds. The fastest reflexes modern technology has to offer, onboard computer-assisted memory, and a lifetime of on-the-street law enforcement programming. It is my great pleasure to present to you RoboCop.
This guy's really good.
He's not a guy, he's a machine.
Old Detroit has a cancer. Cancer is crime.
Robert Kopp.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
It's on my honorable mentions.
He was a cop. He got shot. He became RoboCop.
He was a cop. He got shot. He became the RoboCop.
Yeah. It's pretty amazing. I don't know.
Okay, Sarah, you know.
No, I mean...
Did we do that for the podcast, or did we just watch
we had
it?
special guests, remember?
Oh, yeah.
And you were expecting them to not like the movie.
Yeah, I don't,
I think it was from the Batman Minute, guys.
That's right. Oh my gosh, I remember talking about it now.
It was real fun.
Yeah, that was fun.
This movie just makes me smile. I just have so many good memories, and I'm really happy we got to record an episode on it and whatnot. But I don't know how much deeper you want me to go other than...
Well, I think it's a good choice for Paul Verhoeven movies. You know, it's super hyper violent, and that goes along kind of with They Live, where it's like the blatant message right in your face kind of thing. But it could be just watched completely shallow as this, almost horror level action movie thing. But there's the character actor is going crazy in it. Freaking Red from that 70s show.
Oh, definitely.
Clarence Boddicker.
Man, oh man, that guy.
Yeah, and I think Buckaroo Banzai there does a really good job.
Oh yeah, Mr. Weller.
Yeah, Peter Weller. Oh, thank you. I couldn't remember his name. Nancy Allen's really good as his partner.
Oh yeah,
and
Murphy, I'm wrecked.
Ferrer, Miguel Ferrer.
Oh yeah, Miguel Ferrer for the win in this movie.
So slimy,
man.
And God, I wish he was still alive.
Same here, man. We miss you. We miss you.
Yeah. It's like a super interesting, like even Sarah, you have to admit there's like a lot of interesting stuff in there. I know it's definitely not on a list of movies you want to watch again, but
yeah, it's not my favorite movie, but there's definitely interesting ideas. And I think that it's definitely its own thing. Like it's not, it reminds me a little bit of like Total Recall, but I don't know why.
The same director.
Okay. Yeah, I feel like it's pretty much on its own though, because of the level of violence and the level of seriousness, and because they really are like saying that this person is like robot and part person. Like, it's just its own, and it's not silly, you know? There's like maybe a lot of things where there's a person who's part robot who's kind of silly, but in this it's like 100% serious.
Part robot, part cop.
Yep.
All justice.
All badass.
I mean, shouldn't it be part robot, part man, all cop or something?
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, number one. I think I know what Sarah's number one is.
Yeah, did you guess it?
Well, I already mentioned it, and we haven't got to it yet, so I'm assuming.
Yeah, my number one is Stargate.
It has been buried for thousands of years. A mystery. A secret. A threshold to the future.
Where'd you find this? I've never seen anything like this.
One man will break the code and open the door.
From 94.
Yeah.
I don't think we've done that for the podcast.
We have not. We started to watch it one time just for kicks while Aaron was house sitting one time.
Oh,
and
yeah.
we were like getting sucked in, but it was like really late, so we didn't finish it up. So
yeah.
Right. I can't remember when I first saw Stargate, but I remember loving it and started an instant crush on James Spader. First thing. I hadn't seen him in any other movies before that. And I was like, oh, he's like this dorky guy that wears glasses. And he's so not that, like in most of the movies that he's in.
yeah, all those like 80-inch movies, he's like the cool guy.
Like the cool, smooth,
or the
like
jerk.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, he's like a nice, like, dork. Like the super, like, you know, cool. And I saw this movie and I was like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. I know that it's not, it has aged some. I'll say that. But it is gotta be my top spot for this time period just because, Kurt Russell is a badass in it. James Spader is a badass in it. It's got time travel and space and like ties in with like Egypt in some way. I think this was during the era where people were still really speculating about how the pyramids had been made and stuff. And
well, aliens,
they were just
obviously.
like, well, yeah, what about an alien?
Racist.
There were some really cool things that I had never seen done in a movie before, like the stuff they did in the desert, the stuff they did like in the village there, the like effect of going through time but through water, I think was different. There were some new special effects that I hadn't seen done with like characters with glowing eyes and stuff, and I really liked the kind of weird like Anubis and stuff heads that some of the characters wore, they both looked like something that was pulled from an artifact from Egypt, but they also looked like this high-tech, like, exoskeleton type thing that an alien would have or something. Not to, go on and on. Maybe we should do an episode about it. But
no, that's great. That's great aesthetics there, having that.
Definitely a fave, yeah.
That high sci-fi Egyptian kind of feel. I love it. It's really cool.
Yeah, it's a cool concept. And, I mean, obviously, it must have been appreciated by a lot of people because it launched an entire, universe of, like, TV shows and spin-offs and TV movies and stuff like that. So, like, there's a reason why. It was really good.
And it's funny because I was reading the trivia about it earlier, and I guess James Spader is like, no, I 100% did that movie for a paycheck. I didn't want to do that movie. But I needed money. And I think that's funny because, like, my first experience seeing him in anything, I loved him in that. And he, I guess, didn't even really want to do it. He thought the script had problems. And anyway, that's my number one. Do you want me to say my honorable mentions or do you want me to wait? Okay. All right.
All right. My number one is Jurassic Park.
There it is. Welcome to Jurassic Park.
We've made living biological attractions so astounding that they'll capture the imagination of the entire planet.
The most phenomenal discovery of our time. How'd you do this? Becomes the greatest adventure of all time.
Woo-hoo!
Nice.
1993. I mean, I think I've emphasized why that was one of my favorite movie for a long time. Then it got knocked up by 2001, and now I don't want to spoil anything, but I kind of feel like my favorite movie is Repo Man. But yeah. Anyways, Jurassic Park. What else can we say? There's a whole episode on what we think of it, but. It that was the sweet spot for you and me.
Oh yeah.
Aaron and, I was 12 years old. Holy crap! It's a dinosaur movie, and there's an adventures, and the heroes in that movie are scientists.
I can't think of a more exciting time I ever had in a theater than Jurassic Park.
How many?
It was my birthday.
Yeah.
I invited a bunch of my friends, Chris Cuttress being one of them.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We all drove to the theater. We had a great time. I was freaked out by raptors. Yeah, the whole episode. Yeah. No, I love this movie.
Yeah.
Excellent number one pick for sure, man.
Yeah, I think it's... I would love to see a dinosaur movie that's better than this. And I feel bad saying it, but I just don't think CGI can compare with what they did. Yeah, I just think that it was a moment in time. It's an action movie, and it's going to be in our hearts forever. Yeah, and it made us all afraid of the Velociraptor, which we probably never would have heard of.
Yeah, pretty much.
I think that I've heard that it actually, increased people's interest in, becoming archaeologists and studying dinosaurs.
Yeah.
I think it made kids more interested for sure.
Yeah, definitely. I just certainly wanted to be a paleontologist after that. That didn't happen, obviously, but that was a short-lived dream. I was always the kid who wanted to be Donatello because he was super smart. Oh my gosh, Alan Grant? Yeah, heck yeah. And I think I probably talked about this during the episode, where it was when I read the book, I felt incredibly disappointed by it. Because everyone, it's common. The common idea is that the book is always better than the movie. And the book Jurassic Park has a lot of things in common. But it's very different in its tone. You don't really have any fun in Michael Crichton's Jurassic Park. Spielberg took that movie idea and made it into a real kind of Indiana Jones-esque adventure.
Oh, yeah.
It just happened to have dinosaurs in it. And considering the last Indiana Jones movie had aliens, who couldn't? Who knows? He could fight dinosaurs. at some point.
Spoiler.
Mm.
No, I seriously haven't seen the last Indiana Jones movie yet.
Oh.
Well, let me spoil this for you. There's no dinosaurs in it.
But there's a crystal skull, right?
There is Crystal Skull vodka.
And Kate Blanchett?
Yes, Kate Blanchett drinks Crystal Skull vodka.
Okay.
And she gains the wisdom of the animal kingdom.
And she's an alien?
Yes.
Yes.
In real life. You saw Thor Ragnarok. Anyways, I love Jurassic Park, and we were meant to be. Jurassic Park, will you marry me? Na 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 na. No, I won't, Joel, 'cause I'm a movie. Jeez.
And that's when the long neck just sticks its head close to you and sneezes all over you.
Oh, no. You sneezed on me. That means we're married now. When you gotta go, you gotta go.
Sometimes you just need to hack a computer, Joel.
There's that part where he gets back in the car. He's like, yeah, they don't have power in their car either. And Ian Malcolm's like, are the kids okay? And Dr. Grant's like, oh man, I was just thinking about the actual lines. Like, they seem like they're fine. Why wouldn't they be okay? And Ian Malcolm says, kids get scared. Like, well, there's no reason to be scared. It's like, well, I didn't say I was scared. You know, the Chismo thing, but it's also, Grant didn't even think about, like, the difference between each other. Anyways, let's move on to Aaron's number one.
My number one pick is a bit of a strange one. My number one pick is my favorite anime from this particular time period, and that would be Project Z or Rojin Z from 1991.
May I welcome you to this demonstration which marks a breakthrough in public care for the elderly. Let me demonstrate. The dreaded bath time. Excretion. Disposal. It has a built-in electrocardiogram and electroencephalogram. It monitors body temperature, pulse, blood pressure, and respiratory patterns. It will administer appropriate medication, give oxygen...
Well, I'm glad I pointed that one back out to you.
No, you blew my mind there for a moment. Thank you, Joel. This movie's really important to me. I saw this on the Sci-Fi Channel as a kid, and it just kind of showed me why this movie is so important to me is because it showed me the potential of anime in a way that I hadn't even foreseen until this time, or at least up until this moment. I think the Sci-Fi Channel showed it again, like much later on. I don't think I initially saw this in 1991 as it's stated online coming out. I probably saw this probably like 96 or something like that. Maybe when the Sci-Fi Channel was kind of doing a run of anime movies on their channel on Saturday mornings.
Your Ghost in the Shells and your...
Yeah.
What was it about?
So this movie is basically about the idea of how we can help as a society. How can we help our aging population? And so they basically created this bed that's supposed to be able to take care of our folk who are elderly and
older adults.
And this particular bed they designed is just far too advanced for its own good. They basically put like amazing military technology into it, and so it completes its task. It's trying to help this elderly person, and this elderly person wants to go to the beach. So that's what the whole movie's about, is like it trying to advance to the point where it can get.
Wow.
It's such a lovely movie. I love it. And I definitely think we'll have to watch it here in the future. Maybe it'll be a pick here pretty soon.
Cool.
I'm excited. Because you literally talked about it like 2 years ago. Not on the podcast. I think you just mentioned it to me.
Oh yeah, I love this movie so much. It's so good. And I believe maybe 3 or 4 years ago when I went to a con, I actually bought a animated cell from this movie. So I have like a piece of it now.
Cool.
It's pretty exciting.
Yeah, that's radical.
Yeah, that's my number one pick though.
All right,
anime.
Honorable mention. Oh, anime?
Anime.
Yeah, it's out of this world. What do you guys got that we didn't talk about? Go ahead and go through yours, Sarah.
First honorable mention for me was Demolition Man. Watched it a bajillion times. It was one of the only English movies I had when I lived in the People's Republic of China. Earth Girls Are Easy was my number 2. The Arrival, starring Charlie Sheen.
For real?
Was my number 3.
Wow.
The aliens bend their legs backwards.
Yeah, they're like birds.
They do weird things.
Nice.
And my number 4 was Forever Young, starring Mel Gibson, who is put into a cryogenic chamber. And number 5 was Tank Girl.
Nice.
Which was just such a moment in time. That's, I guess, fantasy as well.
It's definitely post-apocalyptic sci-fi.
Yeah. I'll talk more about that when we're talking about fantasy, but
also when we watch that movie.
There was a moment in our culture that was very cyberpunk, very future sporty, angsty, and goth, and Tank Girl was definitely part of that whole moment in time. And number 6, I had to put Independence Day, even though it's not one of my favorite movies. I think Independence Day was kind of a big movie for its time. And even though it's a disaster movie and it has a lot of converging storylines and stuff, I think that there are some things that I'll always find memorable about it.
Man, blockbuster movie. Independence Day, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a cultural icon, yeah. That's why 2025 or whatever, a million years later, they could make that crappy sequel that nobody saw.
Oof. Yeah, same. Didn't see it.
Honorable mentions for me, I have RoboCop, They Live. Already talked about those. Delicatessen, which is a French movie that takes place in a post-apocalyptic What word was I going for? Post-apocalyptic world where they don't have food available, so all these weirdos live in this apartment building, and one at the bottom there's a butcher, and we're not exactly sure where he's getting all this meat. Ooh, and it's done by I can't remember the director's first name, Junet, who did Amelie. So it's got that amazing visual style, and it's really good. I recommend it if you haven't seen it.
I haven't seen it, or it probably would have made my list.
We should watch it. 12 Monkeys, and then I've got Mars Attacks, which is one of my favorite, super fun Tim Burton movies. I don't hold it up as high as some of the other cooler stuff, more well-known stuff, but people give Mars Attacks a hard time, and I just think it's a lot of goofy fun. So I don't know what to say.
I didn't even realize Mars Attacks was in this time period.
Yeah,
bummer. That would have made my list for sure.
Well, you know what, Aaron? That's okay. And last thing I have on the list is 1997 Star Trek First Contact, which we watched for the podcast, and I just thought it was really, really good. Borg Queen forever.
What year?
97?
Yeah, it's on my list too.
Is that after?
Honorable mention.
97 shouldn't have been on there. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
Yeah. How did
Were
that
other
happen?
movies?
No.
Okay.
That was only 97. I don't know how that happened.
Yeah, it sounds pretty like things I was looking over myself. What are your picks, Aaron?
All right, my honorable mention list is long. I will try real hard to hit these off as quick as possible. I got They Live as well. I got 12 Monkeys, Masters of the Universe, Terminator 2, Batteries Not Included. I, too, also added Star Trek First Contact to my list, even though it's a 97 film.
Oh.
Oops. Spaceballs, Inner Space, Predator, Godzilla vs. Biollante, which is an amazing movie. Also Godzilla vs. Mothra.
Nice.
And Dominion Tank Police. There was an OVA that came out in this time frame that rocked my world.
Awesome. Yeah, some of these that you picked from this time period are ones I'm not familiar with. Cool.
Oh, also Guyver. That was from 1991.
Guyver, yeah.
The Guyver.
Guyver.
Yeah.
That's a super fun episode we did.
I love that movie.
Well, we're going to split this in two because I'm on call this week and I suddenly just got a call that I have to go run out to. But look forward to the top 5 fantasy. I'm going to publish them probably pretty close to each other. You guys feeling all right?
Yeah, this is great. Thank you so much.
I mean,
I had a good time talking about sci-fi movies. Can't wait to talk about fantasy.
Oh,
Me
yeah.
too.
EarTrumpetAudio.com.
Ideas and entertainment.
Loud and clear.